As we told you earlier, the weekend's mass shootings in Ohio and Texas have renewed calls for gun control legislation. President Trump talked about gun violence and ideological hatred this morning. So let's discuss it with a key member of Congress, South Carolina Senator Lindsey Graham, chair of the Judiciary Committee. He joins us from Greenville, South Carolina. Welcome, Senator.
Thank you for having me. I'm here at the Greenville GOP. We had a good talk tonight about a lot of things.
Yeah, we're going to try to do that with you as well. I first want to get your reaction to the weekend's events and, of course, as predictable, plenty of reaction on both sides of the aisle that's political in nature.
Well, number one, the people to blame are the shooters and nobody else. It's a sick and senseless crime, and there's a common pattern. In many of these cases, people are disturbed. They take the law in their own hands. They're full of hate, and they act out, and it's time for us to act. You know, calling the president names is not going to solve this problem. For the last 24 hours, it's been really over the top. I'm looking for a Democrat to work with, not to insult. So I'm hoping I can find some Democrats that will work with me, starting with the idea of red flag laws. I think these protective orders have a lot of hope to solve some of these cases.
Well, I want to put up a map now so folks can see where there are a number of states that have done this across the country. Of course, there are always concerns about due process. A lot of people have that guns could be taken, Second Amendment rights could be potentially violated before people have a chance to make their side of the case. How do you thread that needle?
Well, number one, Indiana was one of the first states to do this. Here's what we do. This is not going to be a federal law. It'll be a federal grant program. To get the federal grant, you have to have due process. There has to be an imminent threat of harm to oneself or to others before the police, and it can only be the police, can go to a judge. You have a hearing. You got to have more likely than not standard that there's an imminent threat of bodily injury. 7 days later, you have a full-blown hearing. Clear and convincing evidence where the gun owner can come in and defend themselves, and the government has to prove by clear and convincing evidence that the person is disturbed, a danger to themselves or others. And if that test is met, they can seize the guns and get the person the help they need. In Parkland, Florida, Cruz had 32 to 40 visits by the cops. They had no way to stop him. He did everything but take an ad out in the paper, "I'm going to kill people." So what I want to do is encourage these laws with robust due process, and I think that's the president's goal also.
Well, he talked about that today. He talked about trying to unify and make this not a partisan issue, but to find bipartisan solutions on the Hill. That's been really tough to do. I want to play something from former Democratic Congressman Luis Gutierrez today, talking about first the discussion was in the context of the war on terror, and he says it's really the domestic issue we have to look at, and he's not buying what the president was selling today. Here's what he said.
Yes, we need a war on terrorism here in the United States of America to eradicate. But the first thing we need to do is the President of the United States has to stop igniting the flames of hatred and bigotry and division in this country. I don't believe any of what you said today.
Senator, where is the bipartisan space to get something done?
Well, I've worked with Senator Blumenthal, and we're getting close. We're going to run it by the White House. We've talked to owner groups, so we've talked to the cops, and we're trying to come up with a serious solution to a serious problem. We're trying to empower police officers to do something before it's too late with plenty of due process. We're not trying to take anybody's guns away from them. We're trying to get guns out of the hands of people who are dangerous, who actually may kill themselves or somebody else. That's the goal. We're trying to shut down these social media sites that spew hate. We're trying to find solutions. And for the last 24 hours, it's been pretty disappointing to hear all the rhetoric directed at President Trump. President Trump is not the problem here. The Congress for years has been talking. It's now time to act. And if Senator Blumenthal and I can come up with a package that has protections for the gun owner but allows the cops to do something before it's too late, I hope we can get a vote in the Senate and it will pass.
Okay, I want to ask you about some foreign policy issues as well while we have you. The president last week talking about the fact that, listen, he campaigned on bringing our troops home from a number of conflicts around the world. Right. He's now talking about Afghanistan. You had some strong cautions for him, but here's what he said about bringing those folks home from Afghanistan.
We've been there 19 years. We're not really, let's put it this way, we're more policemen than anything else, and that's not for our soldiers. We could win the war in Afghanistan in less than a week. But I'm not looking to kill 10 million people, and I'm not talking nuclear.
What are your concerns about bringing everyone home, all U.S. operations from that area?
Every commander I've talked to, the intelligence community says that al-Qaeda and ISIS are reemerging in Afghanistan, that if we withdraw all of our forces, they can hit us in the region and here at home. This is exactly what they told President Obama. It is not right to leave. If we'd had a residual force in Iraq, there would be no ISIS. ISIS has now moved to Afghanistan along with al-Qaeda. My belief is that a small counterterrorism force will protect the American homeland from another 9/11. It's just not me saying that. It is the intelligence community and every military commander. President Trump has done a great job of rebuilding the military. He's gone after ISIS in Syria and Iraq. We've got our foot on their throat. If we pull all of our troops out, it will be just a matter of time, in my view, till they regenerate. The good news is a very small counterterrorism force is an insurance policy against another 9/11, and I hope the president will see it that way and follow the advice of his commanders. And if he gets in a debate with Joe Biden, here's what I would recommend the president to do. Aren't you the guy that gave us ISIS? Aren't you the guy that told we're getting out no matter what the military says? Mr. President, don't go down the Joe Biden, Barack Obama road when it comes to Afghanistan. This is where the whole thing started, and we got to get Afghanistan right. And the good news is, with a few thousand counterterrorism forces, we can protect America for a very long time to come, and we can reduce the cost, and we should reduce the cost.
All right, Senator Lindsey Graham, live from Greenville, South Carolina tonight. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.